Going on, guys? Long time no see. Yankee Cowboy here. I just got off work, guys, and a friend of mine at work suggested that I should probably make a video, and he's right. So Paul, this PBR is for you, pal. Cheers. Haven't been doing much, guys, because my work schedule right now has just been really crazy. And let me bring you up to a quick knife update. It's kind of shelved right now. It's kind of backburnered. There's too much going on with my work schedule and stuff going around in general. So anybody who does want a knife, I took a few orders, and no money involved, but just hang in there, guys. Be patient. I promise before this year is out, I will definitely be back into it, and we're going to get those done. It's something I'm pretty passionate about, and I don't want to let that go by the wayside. Okay, with that being said, guys, what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be getting back to a lot of how-to videos and get back into that, other than some outdoor stuff once I go up the club and I do some fishing and some more hunting and stuff. Right now, my bench, we're transforming it back into a reloading bench. I reload my shotgun shells, as you guys know, hopefully, if you watched Reloading Chronicles or some of the videos I did on reloading. I got a 40 caliber handgun loader coming. I'm going to be reloading 40 cal and probably 45 long Colt. So the bench is pretty much going to be dedicated for reloading. Now, once we go over here and I show you the loaders, the two mechs I have now, these are pretty mobile. I got these mounted to a base. They can be moved. They're sturdy enough to load on the base that I have them on. But once you get into the handgun loader, those pretty much got to be mounted firm to a bench. And I do have a spot over there for it, so I'm not concerned with it. But I will still be able to do reviews and the how-to stuff on the bench when it comes to long guns or whatever we're going to do. I'm going to have the spot for it, because I want to redo some of the videos that I've done in the past, guys. When I first started the channel, I was pretty green at most of the stuff, and I haven't been doing this now for 3 years, 4 years. There's a lot of things I want to revisit. I don't think one video is going to do justice to my archery, shotgun reviews, and just stuff of that nature. It needs to be revisited, and there's a lot of good things and a lot of good information that I want to get out to you guys. So I'm definitely going to be redoing a lot of videos. So hang in there and stay tuned for that, because there's going to be some good information. As tonight's video, in my opinion, is pretty good information on how to maintain a mech loader, things to look for, stuff that I've learned over the years of loading. So with that being said, we're going to hop over to the reloading area now, and we're going to go over the mech loaders and how to maintain them. Okay, guys, as with the poof of smoke, I come into the frame here. These are my two loaders. This here is my mech 8567 grabber. It's a progressive loader. Now, the only difference between this one and the 9000 is that I have to rotate the turret by hand, which is fine by me, because if you have a hiccup in any of the stations, it's just easier for me to take a shell out, back it up. I don't have to take any kind of mechanics off of it. So there's one quick little lesson here on that. If you're going to get a progressive reloader, it's not that big a deal to turn the turret, guys. I'm glad I didn't go with the 9000. I've talked to plenty of guys up the club that do have a 9000, and they agree with my theory. When they have a hiccup in it, it's kind of a major snag to start getting in there and backing up what you've already started, when there's linkages and stuff involved while this turret's turning every time you pull the handle. So that's one thing there. This here is a Mech Size Master. This is the one let me back that up. I didn't start with this. I started with a Mech Junior, and I wanted a progressive loader, and the Mech Junior everything was done by hand. This Size Master is somewhat progressive. The only thing progressive that it does is when you pull the handle, it dumps a primer. So this thing served me well, and actually I'm using this to load shotgun slugs. So this is still being used. And the only thing, like I said, progressive is it put the primer in for you. But I still was able to load pretty quick on this. But like I said, I wanted a progressive reloader. Didn't really care for the 9000 due to the fact that the turret moved when you pull the handle, and I knew that would be problematic, which I'm glad I went with the 8567. So this one here is fully progressive. Every time you pull the handle, you're gonna pump out a completed shell. The only thing you're putting in is the new shell and the wad, and everything else is pretty much automatic. But we're here to talk about maintenance and maintaining. Both of these machines were just stripped, and they were cleaned thoroughly. And what I've been using on them to lubricate them is Ballistol. Ballistol is fantastic. Although at the end of this video I want to talk about new products. I got really hooked on this Ballistol after using it for the past month. Thought it was the greatest thing next to sliced bread, which it is. It's a very good product, but this product is going to be used strictly now for mechanical lubricating, you know, lawnmowers, my mech machines, you know, stuff like that. And I'll get into that at the end of the video. But Ballistol is what I use, guys, to lubricate this. So let's talk maintenance right now, like the video is intended. Everything on here was all cleaned, wiped down. I brushed everything, blew it all off outside. I didn't take anything apart because there's no reason to really take anything apart on this. You don't want to start taking it apart unless you absolutely have to. And if you do have to take it apart, you know, good luck with that, because it looks pretty involved. But I mean, I'm sure I can do it. I'm sure you can do it, but I don't want to take it apart. There's really no reason to take it apart. So once you get everything brushed off with a brush and you blow it off with air, compressed air, go over each individual part with lubrication. Like I said, I use Ballistol. You know, choose what you want. I'm not telling you guys what to lubricate it with, what not to, but Ballistol does work great. It's a cleaner, a lubricator, and a protector. So every moving part on this was slicked up with Ballistol. You want to do this guide rod here. You want to do your sizing. This is where it's deprimed and sized. You make sure you want to get a lot of lube in there, because when you go up and down on that, there's fingers that grab. I was going to get my GoPro and zoom in on this stuff, but hopefully anybody who watches this video is watching it for the purpose of they have a loader and they're interested in it. So you'll know what I'm saying. Well, actually, you know what, guys? Let me pop the camera off. This isn't going to be a great video unless I actually show you what the hell's going on. All right. Okay, what I'm talking about is right in here, guys. There's fingers. Let's see if I can get a shot of that. I don't know if it'll focus now. But these fingers in here, when you cycle this down, see how it squeezes? So you want to get those fingers lubricated. You want to get this cam right here. This is pretty much like a bicycle chain right here. You want to make sure you get lube on that, because that swivels and moves. Like I said, you want to get lube on this shaft here. You also want to get lube on the main body up in here. You want to get lube on that. All your pivot points, make sure you lube all the pivot points, and just, you know, just go over that portion of it as best you can, getting lube in there on each of these pivot points here. Anywhere you're going to see friction or moving parts, you want to get lube. As you can see, hopefully you can see that on the shaft. That shaft is lubed up real good with Ballistol. So nothing on the spring. You don't need to put anything on the spring. Underneath your turret, this turret's like on a rail right now. There's ball bearings under here. You want to get that all lubed up. Make sure that's lubed all well and good. And then problems and hiccups. Let's see here. Right here on the second crimp station here, you want to make sure you get that adjusted properly to get your crimp right. I was crushing a lot of shells when I first got this machine. As you can see right there, there's some screwed up ones here. Let me show you. See how the body's crushed? Problem what I was doing wrong. On the Size Master here, there's only two stations. There's a starter crimp and a finish crimp. It was pretty easy to adjust. When I got into this one, let me see if I could turn this. Okay. There's actually three. You got your starter crimp, your secondary crimp, and then your finish crimp. Problem what I was doing wrong, guys, is I was going to this finishing crimp station and adjusting that down, and what it was doing, it was crushing the shells. Now if you notice on the second station, let me show you if I can, right here on the second station here, when you go all the way down with it like that, this piece will ride up, so you can't crush it, but you can adjust it. There's an adjustment nut under here. This is very important. So once you adjust that, you can't crush the shell, because this will ride up and not allow it to crush. So there's where I needed to make my big adjustment, and that's where I ended up fixing it. After using this machine for a while, I was able to correct that and get that taken care of. So that's definitely a plus, guys. Let me put this camera back. So like I said, pretty much on the maintenance on these, it's pretty straightforward. You want to make sure everything's clean. You want to lubricate all your pivot points, and then watch out for problematic things like, you know, crushing your shell or getting shot stuck underneath this turret. You always want to have a few tools with you right next to your loader. Have a little tweezer so you can take out, you know, a primer that might got hung up, or if you got a little piece of shot in there, a small little fine screwdriver and a bigger screwdriver to make your adjustments on your crimp station. Because all hulls are different, you may need to make adjustments on the fly. That's why this is important, because you can load up a different shell and now your crimp's going to be off. So that's where you got to have tools with you there. And then the small screwdriver, what I'll do is if I have to take a shell out, if I have a problem, I'll lift up on this turret a little bit and I'll be able to pop the shell out. So always have yourself some tools on the side, just so you have something there, so in case you get into a jam, you can get yourself out of a jam. I'm trying to think of anything else, guys, that I could go over on these that I've learned over the years, or any problems that I've come into. I pretty much told you the main one was the crimp. Other than that, these loaders run fantastic. You could pull these things out of the woods and they'll run great. I mean, they could get rust on them and everything, and I've seen these things pretty beat up at some of my buddies' places, and these things run fantastic. But if you keep it well lubricated and you make the fine adjustments that I just told you about, you're going to have no problems with these mech loaders, both of them. This one here, it's been very reliable for me. I'm using this now, like I said, for slugs. We'll do a slug video soon. Like I said, this is going to be just for reloading. I'm going to revamp the back, hang different things. I might put some different shelves up there, and you know, we'll go from there. As far as the primer trays go, haven't really had any problems with the primer tray, guys. These are pretty good. Once in a while when they get low, it won't tend to drop down the tube, so try and keep your primer tray full. That's pretty much it on that. I haven't had no trouble with either of these with the primer trays. Haven't had any troubles with the mechanisms, any trouble with the powder or shot drop. Those have been great. There's really nothing there to clean or lubricate. You don't want any lubrication in where your shot and your powder is coming out of. Just any of your pivot points, any of your moving parts. Alright guys, this is just a quick little video, you know, it's nothing major, but you know, just some general things to go over on these mech loaders. Hopefully you took something out of the video. And also buy yourself a cover. I was cheap for years, never bought a cover, and when I cleaned this thing there was a lot of dust and a lot of crap on it. Even though I used it a lot, cover it. This thing gets covered when I don't use it, so you know, buy yourself a cover. Spend the 40 bucks and get a cover. Alright guys, I want to go over some new products, so we're going to head back over to the table over here and we're going to talk about some new products. Okay guys, wasn't my best camera work, but hopefully you guys get the general idea on the maintenance end of these mech loaders and how to maintain them. If anybody wants any more in-depth review of it or questions, hit me up on Facebook, send me a PM. I'd be happy to get with you and answer any questions further that you might have or that I may have missed. But general idea was, you know, basic lubrication, keeping it clean, and watching out for those crimp adjustments. Those are the only real major hang-ups I've ever had with these machines, and I've been using them for years. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that end of it and took something out of the video. All right, real quick, I want to get into a new product. As you guys know, I was all pumped up on Ballistol, which I still think it's a great product, but the problem is that, you know, it's not a non-toxic cleaner. It's a chemical cleaner, so you don't want to eat that or get it on your skin or anything like that. So I've recently discovered this frog lube. Seen a lot of videos on YouTube, a lot of guys using it. I ran into a few guys that have used it and highly recommend it, so I went out and I grabbed it. This is completely FDA approved. It's food grade. It's made out of a plant, so you could eat this stuff, and it smells great. It smells like birch beer. It's absolutely fantastic. But that's for another video. We're gonna go over this, how to apply it, how to put it on, and then we're gonna go a month or two out and we're gonna do a review on what I think of it, a follow-up. So this is just basically an introduction to this frog lube. But I still will be using the Ballistol, like I said, on my mech machines, lawnmowers, motorcycles, stuff like that. But for anything firearms or anything like that, definitely going to be using the frog lube. So stay tuned for a frog lube video. I'm looking forward to using this stuff here, guys. All right, so any questions or comments on the mech maintaining, leave them below or hit me up on Facebook. As always, thanks for watching The Total Outdoors with the Yankee Cowboy.